Hi everyone, welcome to this channel. I am William. Thank you for joining me here. Before I begin, please feel free to subscribe and on the notification button so that you will receive any new e-learning videos from this channel going forward. Imagine for a moment that you're walking a tightrope. Now imagine that tightrope is actually a fiber optic cable, and the chainsaws you're juggling are data breaches, system outages, and regulatory fines. That, in a nutshell, is the reality for modern organizations navigating the digital landscape. For decades, internal audit has been about looking backward, checking transactions, verifying compliance, and ensuring the locks on the doors are secure. But today, the doors aren't just physical. They're virtual. They're in the cloud. And sometimes we don't even own the building they're attached to. This shift brings us to the core of our discussion today: the digital risk management audit. Over the next couple of minutes, we're going to explore what this new breed of audit looks like. We'll move beyond simply checking the IT box and discuss how we can provide assurance on the very engines that drive business value today. We'll look at the shifting risk landscape, the new audit methodology required, and how we can transition from being a cost center to a strategic advisor. So what exactly is digital risk? It's not just IT risk renamed. IT risk traditionally focused on the technology itself, the servers, the networks, the uptime. Digital risk encompasses that, but it goes further. It covers the risk associated with the business of being digital. Let's break down the key domains of a digital risk management audit. First, cloud and infrastructure. Are we securely adopting cloud services? Is our architecture resilient? We're not just asking if the server is patched, we're asking if our multi-cloud strategy introduces new governance gaps. Second, data and AI. This is the frontier. Are we managing data as an asset? With the explosion of generative AI, we have new risks: data leakage into public models, bias in algorithms, and a complete lack of explainability in decision-making. An audit here isn't about the code, it's about the governance around the code. Third, third-party and ecosystem risk. Your security is only as strong as your weakest vendor. In a digital supply chain, a breach at a small software vendor can bring down a multinational bank. We have to audit the ecosystem, not just the enterprise. Fourth, cyber resilience. This is a shift from prevention at all costs to assumption of breach. Can we detect, respond, and recover? An audit here tests the incident response playbook, not just the firewall configuration. And finally, digital culture. This is the soft stuff, but it's where the hard failures happen. Do employees understand their role in protecting data? Is there a culture of moving fast and breaking things that conflicts with risk management? As auditors, our scope has expanded. We must now be fluent in all these domains to provide holistic assurance. This brings us to the methodology. We cannot audit digital risks using the same checklists we used 10 years ago. If we do, we become irrelevant. We need a fundamental shift in our approach. First, we move from periodic to continuous. In a digital environment, code is deployed every hour. Risks emerge overnight. Waiting a year to test a control is like locking the stable door after the horse has bolted, and then bolted again 300 times. We need to leverage technology, like continuous controls monitoring, to gain real-time assurance. Second, we move from samples to populations. Traditional auditing might look at 25 transactions out of 10,000. With data analytics, we can analyze all 10,000. We can identify anomalies, outliers, and patterns that a sample would never reveal. This isn't just efficient, it's more accurate. Third, we must embrace agile auditing. We can't afford to spend 3 months planning and 6 months field work on a project that might be obsolete by the time we issue the report. We need to use sprints. We need to issue findings in real time, allowing management to fix issues while the audit is still ongoing. This builds trust and adds value immediately. Let me give you a practical example. Suppose the business is migrating a core application to the public cloud. A traditional audit might wait until after the migration, then test the final configuration. A digital risk audit, however, gets involved during the migration. We use our expertise to advise on the control framework before the move. We use scripts and APIs to check the cloud environment's configuration against industry benchmarks like CIS in real time. We don't just ask, "Did you set up a firewall?" We use automated tools to verify that the firewall rules don't inadvertently expose the database to the entire internet. We provide assurance on the process of migration, helping the business move faster and safer. Now, I want to spend a few minutes on what is arguably the most complex and critical area of digital risk today: artificial intelligence. Auditing an AI model is fundamentally different from auditing a financial process. In finance, the rules are explicit. If X happens, do Y. In AI, the rules are inferred from data. The model learns patterns we didn't explicitly program. This creates the black box problem. So, how do we audit this? We can't audit the code in the traditional sense because the model's logic is embedded in thousands of weighted vectors. Instead, we audit the governance, the data, and the outcomes. First, governance. Is there a responsible AI framework? Who is accountable for the model's decisions? Is there a process for approving a model for use, especially in high-stakes areas like hiring or lending? Second, data. We audit the data lineage. Where did the training data come from? Is it biased? If you train a hiring algorithm on 10 years of historical data and your company historically hired mostly men, the AI will learn that male is a desirable trait. The audit must test for this bias before the model goes live. Third, outcomes. We perform shadowing. We run the model in a test environment and compare its decisions to human decisions or expected outcomes. We look for drift. Does the model start making different decisions 6 months later as the world changes? Auditing. A. I isn't about understanding the math. It's about understanding the risk of the math. It's about ensuring that as we automate decisions, we don't automate our biases or create new unforeseen risks. This new landscape demands a new kind of auditor. We need to move from the I-shaped professional, deep in one area, to the T-shaped professional. The top of the T represents our traditional strengths: business acumen, communication, and critical thinking. We must retain these. We are still the bridge between complex technical risk and the board of directors. We must be able to tell the story: here is a technical vulnerability, and here is what it means for our bottom line and our reputation. The stem of the T is where we need to grow. We need digital literacy. This doesn't mean every auditor needs to be a programmer, but every auditor needs to be data literate, able to query a database, interpret a dashboard, and spot anomalies in a dataset. Cyber-aware, understanding the basic principles of identity and access management, network security, and the most common attack vectors. Cloud-curious, knowing the difference between IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS, and understanding the shared responsibility model in the cloud. Building this team is a journey. It involves upskilling your current workforce and hiring new talent with diverse backgrounds, data scientists, engineers, and cybersecurity analysts, and teaching them audit. The audit function of the future is a hybrid team. To conclude, the digital risk management audit is not just an evolution of our processes, it's a reinvention of our purpose. We are moving from being historians who report on what went wrong to being architects who help build resilience from the start. By embracing continuous monitoring, auditing our algorithms, and upskilling our teams, we can provide something far more valuable than a compliance tick box. We can provide insight. We can give the business the confidence to innovate, to adopt new technologies, and to seize digital opportunities, knowing that the risks are understood and managed. The digital tightrope isn't going away, but with a modern, dynamic audit function, we can help the organization walk it with confidence. That's the end of my sharing today. If you found this channel is useful, please do subscribe and share it out with your friends and colleagues. Thank you and have a great day ahead.